Welcome to the Line Before podcast. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. I want to thank you guys for subscribing to our YouTube page. Thanks for the likes on Facebook, followers on Facebook as well. Where can the people find us at, Tracy?
Go to the website, nighthawk-radio.com. That's nighthawk-radio.com. The dash throws me off. I have no idea what the emails are.
I don't think we got an email yet.
Okay. You can also catch us on YouTube, Spotify. Look up Nighthawk Radio. You should be able to find us pretty easy.
What's the phone number?
It would be 606-657-0961. You can give us some complaints. You can give us some praise. You can give us suggestions. Just whatever you feel like commenting. That'd be 606-657-0961.
Yes, sir. And we're also live on YouTube, so definitely subscribe to our YouTube page.
Live at this moment, very moment.
Yep, we go live there about every night, really.
Last night was really fun after the girl show. It was really fun. It's the first time I'd really done it.
Yeah, I told her we probably had 100 some people in there all together.
That's pretty cool. All over the world. That's the crazy thing.
Oh yeah, one in Germany, bro.
Yeah, all over the world.
That was fun though. Yeah, everybody definitely subscribe to our YouTube. Definitely check out the website, nighthawk-radio.com. And
Yeah.
you can check out the Line Before podcast every Monday at 7 p.m. We now got In Dark Places every Monday at 6 p.m. with Junebug and Mr.
That's right.
Haunted.
Yep. Speaking of Mr. Haunted, his show will start in October, the first Friday in every month, starting in October at 8 o'clock, 8 p.m.
Yeah, every first Friday of each month, starting October the 3rd
Yep.
at 8 p.m. Yep. Look forward to having Jimmy's show on there. And
yeah, man, Jimmy's a trip. You know, I worked with Jimmy quite a while. You know, at the other radio station, and man, his show was bonkers, man. He does some pretty wild stuff.
we got him doing two shows now. He's doing that show with Junebug too, In Dark Places, every Monday at
Yeah.
6 p.m. All these times are Eastern Standard Time too.
Yep. So you got Junebug to commit to once a week. No kidding.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, that's great. That's great. He didn't tell me that. Now I just talked to him like 10 minutes ago, and he didn't even mention that.
Yeah, he's in our Facebook group.
Yeah. Well, I seen where he was going to start doing a show, but I thought it was going to be like Jimmy, like once a month. But I didn't know it was going to be every week.
Yep. And then also we
Awesome.
got 5 minutes and a cup of Joe every Monday at 8 p.m.
Yeah. Joseph Ashcraft Jr.
Yes, sir. He talks everything sports, NFL, NBA, college football, college
Weather,
basketball, everything. He even
weather,
does our weather, yeah.
politics.
Nighthawk Radio weather, Nighthawk Radio politics. Yeah, dude, he does it. He does it all. He does everything for us for sure.
Yeah,
He can go
he's a
from
pretty cool
weather,
cat.
politics to sports, bro.
And you know, he has the voice for it too. He sounds like a weather guy and a sports guy.
What's up, Jimmy? Jimmy's in the comments right now.
Jimmy, it's just us three, man.
No, we got two people in there. But
Dude, that's
we
awesome.
also got the William Hunt show every Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. So we got 4 shows on Monday right now.
And that's cool,
Making a
man.
cup of coffee and I'm coming. Oh, you're coming to our Zoom? Heck yeah, bro.
Come on, dude. We'll promote that book.
Yep, we're actually doing a podcast right now, the Line Before podcast. We're just letting YouTube,
Listen in.
yeah. Well, YouTube's actually controlling all the topics, really. So what's our lineups for Sundays, Tracy?
You got the Beyond the Woodland is
My show
at
comes on first.
6, right?
Yeah, you got
I
Seth's
don't.
Daily Podcast at 5 p.m., Beyond the Woodline at 6 p.m., and then you
Yeah.
got the Awakening
Awakening
Radio
Radio at
at
7.
7 p.m. Yep.
And this week, this Sunday, Joe and I will have on Keith Age.
Yep. And I have Joseph Ashcraft Jr. coming on this Saturday. I mean, this Sunday.
Sunday.
Yep.
I
We
mean,
got
I didn't do
Sci-Fi
that right.
Channel star Keith Age coming on Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I got Joseph Ashcraft Jr. coming on Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got a good lineup Sunday and Monday. We got a good lineup Thursdays as well. Two girls, one cut every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern
The
Standard Time.
The Mackenzie
And
hour
then
at 8
McKenzie.
p.m.
Oh, I'll let you say it. My bad.
I
I mean,
say the Mackenzie hour at 8 p.m. on Thursday. So
yep. All these times are Eastern Standard Time, by the way. Yep. Yeah, dude, I'm excited to have. We got a really good lineup Sunday, Monday, and Thursday, and Friday as well.
and that
And,
that's another thing.
oh,
If
we got
people
Wednesdays too. Wednesdays we got Harvey's Weekly Football Report starting in August.
August,
Wednesdays at
yeah,
7 p.m.
yeah. And you guys have been doing that a while, haven't you?
5 years, brother.
Wow, that's a long time to be talking about something that boring.
Oh, we love football, man. Yeah, dude, we got all kinds of good shows though. So you guys got a big show coming up this Sunday with Keith Age off the Sci-Fi
Yeah,
Channel Spook series. He had on the Sci-Fi Channel about Waverly Hills.
yeah. I'm really interested and excited to get to interview him. I've never interviewed him, never met him, but yeah, that's pretty cool, man. I'm super excited.
Definitely.
Where you
Then
at,
we'll
Jimmy?
yeah, dude, when we have Jimmy in here, we'll talk about the Haunted Chronicles coming back and stuff. And
Yeah,
heck, you two might have some questions for you, me, or Jimmy one. So
yeah,
we're
man.
letting
Bring it on.
YouTube we're letting YouTube pretty much control the topic.
Let them dictate the show.
We can do that every show with the Line Before podcast. That's what's going to make it different from every other show in the world, really.
Yeah, and you know what? We can just fill in time in between talking about stupid stuff like midget serial killers and
Dude, what?
I mean, it's just stuff like that. I'm
That,
sorry, I'm not supposed to say that word. I'm supposed to say midget serial unalivers, I guess.
that is that's something for Joe to talk about. That's awakening radio.
That is an awakening. That's why awakening radio will never be on YouTube. Because there's things that's said in there that, I mean,
YouTube
I don't
wouldn't
know.
accept.
You just gotta watch it. You either love it or hate it. But either way, that's what it is, man. That's what we do. We usually
You'll
offend
be
people.
entertained.
Yeah, because and I've said it 100 times. I mean, we do make fun of people. We do offend people, but we do it for funniness. Not. I don't mean any harm. Joe doesn't mean any harm to anybody. It's just. Listen, if we can't poke fun at ourselves as a human race, then what's wrong with us?
Yeah, dude, we got all kinds of shows coming up, though, man. I'm excited to have In Dark Places on there.
Yeah, and the two girls, one cup, man. They knocked it out last night. That was really cool. What?
I thought you said the CUP.
No. Two girls, one cut.
It would have been fine even if you did, because that was pretty funny. It's all good.
I mean, but anyway, they knocked it out last night. Those girls do their research, and you got to remember something. You know, they can't do this live because of their jobs. We record this thing usually around midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and they have to get up at 6 the next morning and go back to work.
That's called dedication, brother.
Yeah, for real. And you know what? I seen those girls today because we all work together, and Abby said she didn't get in bed until about 2 or 2:30, and Brittany didn't get in bed till about 3.
Yep.
And you and I stayed on this thing last night till 4.
Yeah. Hey, man, we had a big crowd in there last night.
I was highly intoxicated at the
No, you wasn't. No,
not at all. No. It was to the point to where I said, Seth, I've got to go to bed or I'm going to pass out.
You're the one that kept saying 15 more minutes.
Well, because I had that much more in my cup.
And you had fun, too, man. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was a blast, man. I like this live thing. It's pretty neat to... You know, my big thing is if if you're in there, tell us where you're from. Just I mean, a state, close to a city, wherever. I mean, just tell us where you're from.
What was really cool is we had somebody all the way in Germany, man.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? I know some German words. Volkswagen, um, Oktoberfest, beer, Lederhosen, Wiener Schnitzel,
That's great.
Bratwurst. I mean, Hamburg.
Hamburger, thanks, man. Uh, you thought that was my last name for a long time, Hamburger.
I did. Seth Hamburger.
Hey, in Germany, that's probably really what it was, man.
You know what? Yeah, I bet that is a German name. Like, no joke. I bet it is.
Oh, it is. It is.
Because my last name is.
Yeah, we come from Hamburg, Germany, I believe. From
Well,
what
there you
I've been
go.
told.
They just dropped the H and added the Y.
Yeah,
EY.
yeah.
And, you know, my last name is German too. So,
Are we kin, bro?
well, I mean, we come from the same area, so you never know. But
Oh, you come from Hamburg?
no, well, Germany apparently, but no, most of my family are Dutch.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah, we have the land of windmills and wooden shoes, I guess.
Hey, dude, have you ever been on the Lonely Road out west? They call it the Road of Loneliness or whatever.
Not that I'm aware of, but if you would tell me what state and what road it is.
Austin, Nevada. Austin, Nevada.
Nevada.
It's a little bit out, like a few hundred miles from Austin, Nevada. They was talking
Well,
about a ghost story there. It's pretty cool.
no, usually Nevada, the big ones are I-15, I-80, and not 395, the extraterrestrial highway. I've been on that several times.
You had any experiences on that road?
No, well, yeah, I got to see a little alien.
What?
There's a restaurant there close to Groom Lake, and it's called the Little Alien. And it's a little
That's
restaurant.
genius,
And
actually.
oh yeah, and everything's UFO. They got everything in their UFO. And it's basically a single wide trailer. Oh, do I see the kitty poof coming?
Kitty poof.
But yeah,
Yeah.
been out there in that part of the world a little bit. But no, I never. The only experience I ever had was in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Going a little bit in depth on that experience.
Yeah, I mean, oh wait a minute, there he is, the man, the myth, the legend.
Hey,
The goat.
What's up? What's up, Jimmy Jim?
look,
That's creepy. Okay.
I, I want to. I don't want to interrupt. Is this? I'm cloudy, huh?
It's all the smoke.
I just wanted to. I was listening to your German prowess, your mastery of the German language,
Yes.
and I was. I could hear. I could hear me coming back.
You're
I gotta fix that.
just in stereo, bro.
But I was wondering, like, why all the best foods are named after German towns,
You know
especially
what?
Fourth of July treats. The Frankfurt, the Hamburg.
You know what?
Hamburg.
Because you know what? I think, well, yeah, I don't know, man. You just got a lot of German immigrants here.
Mm.
But that's
Hamburg.
that's a good question now.
Uh,
Where does Volkswagen come from? There's not really a Volkswagen town, I don't think.
I don't want to brag, but I have a vampire's blood candle to give it ambiance.
Okay, is it a scented candle? I mean, does it smell like A negative or O positive?
Hey, negative.
I think it's a B.
Okay. Dude, every time you go away, that creepy stuff behind you, man. How do
Does
you
it
sit in
scare you
that
crazy?
room behind you?
I'm protected. I'm okay.
That looked like one of them ray guns from the 50s.
I got, I got one for you guys too.
Death and destruction. Listen, you know what really creeps me out of everything in the world? You know what creeps me out? Is dolls. Like no joke. If the very like the Victorian porcelain face type dolls, I will not stay in a house with one of them.
Well, you know why?
Cause
Because if anything became animated, it would be scary, but it wouldn't be that scary. Like if if a jar of pickles came out of the refrigerator and started walking around, yeah, it's kind of scary. It's a jar of pickles, but a doll, you know,
they don't make horror movies about walking pickle jars,
they don't.
No walking people.
but they do make them
The
dolls.
Amityville gherkin.
But Mr. Haunted,
Uh,
I'm excited about you coming to our station, man. Tell people what time your show will be on and when it will start.
well, Seth and Joe and Tracy have been haunting me in Messenger and woke me out of hibernation.
Yes, we have woken the sleeping dog.
So because of my, I don't have to explain it, my work schedule, my this schedule. Um, I my old schedule was Friday nights at 8 p.m. and I said I could do it once the first Friday of each month, and we'll go from there. See if we could squeeze in more as we go. But we'll start with that, so I'm not
Yeah,
overwhelmed.
sure. And you know what? We're tickled to death to just get you once a month.
And it's like a family, like the old Paramania family we had.
You know, when Seth and I started doing this, and we included Joe, that's what my goal was. I said, I want to get as many of the old Paramania guys as I can to be on here to do this.
And Junebug.
And Junebug. Well, Junebug, I mean, he wasn't technically a host on Paramania, but he was,
He
he'd
was
been
part of it.
on, yeah, he'd been on many shows, though. But you think about it. We've got me, Joe, Chad, you. So all four of us were on Paramania and had our own shows. So, there's only a handful of people left to even try to get, and I don't see them coming on, but I mean, it's going to be worth a shot to try to get them.
Dan the
I'm
man.
I'm trying to see if there's a button I could press to not hear it come back.
I know there's something inside your
Oh, wait a minute.
computer
I know what it
settings.
is. I know what it is. Hello?
Yes, sir.
I figured out what it was. My YouTube was playing at the
Ah,
same time. So now
now you got
I'm
her.
ready.
So, Seth, is there anybody in there?
One person, but they're not commenting.
One person. Okay, well, that's better than a poke in the eye.
We're not leaving until there's 500 subscribers. We won't leave.
Hey,
What time
500
you,
is very important though, because
what,
once we hit 500, we get memberships. So
what time you got to be at work?
Oh,
You,
I'm off today, but it's my
dude.
daughter's birthday, so I have to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for tomorrow morning.
Well, wait. Is your daughter's birthday tomorrow? Well, technically today.
Yeah, you know it's really cool. Both of my daughters have one's born 4th of July, and the other was born January 1st, but it wasn't any January 1st. It was 2000. So she was one of the millennium babies that they made a big deal about at the hospital. I got a big basket of stuff and presents and stuff.
Well, guess whose birthday it is today as well?
Jumpin' Joe Atkins.
Hey, Kama Sutra Joe, son.
Kama Sutra Joe. I forgot about that.
Ordained Joe.
Yeah.
I just want to remark, Seth, you always have beautiful weather. It's like it's so tranquil.
No, it's like 98 and 75%
Balmy.
humidity. It's horrible.
Hey man, when you live in Kentucky, you gotta put some cool stuff behind it because all you see is mountains all the time.
I like mountains.
Well, we got them.
We got a lot of them.
So hey guys, I'm gonna move somewhere in the next couple of years.
Okay.
And I don't know. I have my eyes on a few different states. I don't want to live here. There's nothing here, and I want to live amongst the woodland creatures.
Okay.
But I don't live in a state that's not too expensive like here. So I'm looking.
Eastern Kentucky or Southern Ohio?
So you're looking for suggestions?
I want somewhere where there's lots of cryptids. I want cryptids. I want even in my house, wherever house I get all the raccoons are at my door eating, and I get all these.
I've seen the videos of that. Raccoons will eat your face off if you ain't careful.
They climb all over me. They come in the house.
Those.
I was scared initially
Jeez,
because I heard all the terrible stories about them. But there was this little baby. Welcome to Raccoon Talk, everybody. There was this little baby raccoon on my deck in my old house, and he had a gimp. He had a little gimp. He's rabid. He's gonna kill us all. But he could tell he's a baby and he didn't have his mom. So I would give him food. I don't want him to kill me, but I still want him to eat. And then he was there for days. He'd come and get his food and drink. And I found a rehab lady to come pick him up. And it's like they have to hold him for a certain amount of time before they could tell if he's rabid or not. If you live so long, you're not rabid.
right.
So she took care of him for I don't know how many months. And then she goes, "It's time for me to release him now. Do you want to visit him?" I'm like, yes, I want to visit little. I named him Davy Crockett. Is it a hat thing? Yeah. And little Davy Crockett, we're not supposed to. You can't say this in public because they can get in trouble because they're rehab people. You have to have licenses and shots. And so she said, "Do you want to see him before I let him out?" I said, "Yeah." I went over there and she gave him to me. And I have a picture I always post on there. He put his hands on my nose like this and just looked in my eyes like he remembered me. I saved him.
Well, sure.
So these things somehow they have a way of communicating that he tells his buddies, "This guy's cool. You could go over there and he won't hurt you." And generations came to my house, go inside the house. They have to go to work at 3:00 in the morning, and they're just scattered all over the place. And I got to shoo them out. One time I left one in the house. My daughter's messaging me at work. She goes, "What? Just still in the house." And then I got a new place now, and it took me no time to get them in here too. So they communicate somehow.
It's funny you mention that because I have a theory that animals can make noises that are not in the human range, and I think that's how they communicate.
Let me tell you, mister. We did a whole show on, obviously we don't know a lot about the way animals communicate and the way, some of them could see with a different spectrum. They can hear differently than us. And it's so stupid. This is why I don't like psychics, the crystal ball and the fake psychic. Because we've all done something in our life that you say, "How the frig did I know that?" It's all happened to all of us. So we all have that ability. Some are better than others. But to say that that's not true, that doesn't exist. Look at the animals that predict earthquakes, seizures, animals that see things that we can't. There's definitely a lot to that we don't know yet.
I agree with you 100%. And I know they can communicate somewhat through body language. You lay the ears back or puff up or but it is so funny because I had two dogs at one time. One was a liver spotted Dalmatian, and she kind of ruled the roost. And we had a little miniature wiener dog as well.
I have a miniature wiener dog as well, but I don't have any pets.
So the Dalmatian would be sitting at the food bowl eating. And if the little wiener dog got too close, she would just stop eating. She wouldn't even look at him, not turn her head or nothing, but she would just stop eating. And that's when he knew, holy hell, I'm too close. And you could see him start backing up like, uh-oh, it's about to get big. And that's all she would have to do is just stop eating. She wouldn't even raise her head up out of the bowl. She would just stop. And he would start backing up like, oh, too close.
And then there's another common animal, what do you call it? Physical sign that they do that I learned. See, do you ever have cats?
Yeah.
When they don't like something, they go like this.
Yeah.
Like any cat you had, if you give them a food they don't like, they go like this with their paw. Like, I don't like that. They're like Italian.
The other way, capiche.
Yeah.
Capiche. Oh, man. You know, how's the book doing?
Let me tell you something, mister. I always felt uncomfortable. Well, some people don't, but I always felt uncomfortable for people thinking that you're I don't want to say the word celebrity, but think that you're something just because you investigated houses. Like I never got that. You see how some people are famous
Yeah.
because they investigate houses. Like, why? What did you do? You went to a house. I felt very uncomfortable with people acting like, oh my God, I can't believe I met you. It's like I didn't do anything, you know. So I said instead of just going to these conventions and stuff and just being there and not offering anything, I said I want to create something that you're proud of. So I did that with the first book with Bill Hall, and then this one right here. Let's see. This is the one I did about all my origin story because I'm a little nerd that collected comic books as a child, and I wanted to have my origin story. And this is good, and the stories are so good. I don't care if it's paranormal. But a good story is a good story is a good story.
That's right.
And you asked about a book, and hey, it's not easy to sell books. Let me tell you, unless you're we get a big publisher or something because it's not as easy as you think.
Yeah, it's especially if you're doing it on your own.
Yeah.
Seth's got a book coming out pretty soon. Says I live on the beach.
What's nice is you have total control over. When we had the publisher for the first book, they had to create the cover. They wanted to edit this stuff to put this here and put that there, and they were kind of in control of a lot of it. When you could do it on your own, it's your vision. So whether it stinks or not, it's what I wanted. Thank you.
It doesn't matter if everybody else likes it as long as you did.
Holy mackerels! And you know what else? My book 3 is done, and I'm working with somebody on the cover, and I can't think of the you know when you want to pick a title. I want to pick the best title because you got to say it over and over again when you're promoting it or talking about it.
Right.
Seth, right? You got a title? Oh, you got the I'm at the beach thing you said, right?
Yeah.
I'm at the beach.
Yeah. I want to think of the title that's gonna make me happy, and I just can't get. What I wanted to title is Mr. Haunt. I want to keep Mr. Haunted's in there for name recognition, so I said it's a thing. So, I wanted to call it Mr. Haunted's Midnight Library, and then somebody brought it to my attention that there's a really popular book called Midnight Library that has nothing to do with ghosts or anything, but that kind of ruins it. So I'm trying
what's wrong with the Haunted Chronicle?
That's one of my options.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. I mean, you say that you've said that enough over the years. Welcome to the Haunted Chronicles.
And a lot of guest interviews are in there also. That's a great. Do you know what a great if you did an Awakenings thing for all the people you've interviewed and all the stories you've gotten from there, you just transcribe them, smooth them out, and each one's a chapter. We have such a great pool to pick from with all the interviews and people we've talked to.
I've always wanted to write a book. I've just never had the gumption to do it.
Yeah, you either do or you don't.
Yeah, and I type terrible, so I'd have to hire somebody to type.
I do this. backpack. Terrible.
Dear
But it's
God,
fun
it
when you
would,
finish it. You'll appreciate it.
you may have sparked an interest in it
I
again.
think I just did.
You
I
and
think you
Joe
did.
got right together though, but
Well, it had to be rated R if Joe's got anything to do with it.
yeah, yeah, especially after last week's episode.
Yeah. Did you listen to last week's episode?
I must have missed something.
Gosh. Well, it was
Missed
kind of it wasn't really, it was the Awakening radio show that we did. But basically, we had, at that time, all of the hosts from radio shows that were on the station on, and we were just kind of, knocking stuff back and forth, and everybody was talking about their show and things like that. But you know how Joe and I do. We goof off and act stupid, and you never know what Joe's going to say. And he said a few things that even made me shake my head and go, "Holy crap! What did I do?"
Hey, I got two things about the Awakenings radio crew. You were the first show in the history of the world that I shared my spiked UFO story with, because I always thought it was corny.
Yeah.
And when I was on Coast to Coast, you guys were messaging me and saying I was doing good, so it made me happy.
And then you shouted us out, man. That was, listen.
Yeah,
That was like, I even told Joe when you did that, I was like, dude, we have finally made it.
what else is there?
You can't get any higher than Coast to Coast.
And you know what else? Howard Stern isn't Howard Stern anymore, so I wouldn't even want to be on that show now. But
Yeah.
it's where, if you guys ever followed the show, there's a guy called what's his name on there? It's a bad word.
I know what you're talking about.
His name's something Napkin Ed,
Yeah.
and he's one of the characters. And he has a story. He's always trying to tell Howard about that voices were coming out of his speakers, and Howard didn't want to hear. He didn't want to hear about it. And I said, you know what? I said, because we did the book on messages through speakers and computers and
Right.
electronics and stuff. So I said, a perfect opportunity for him to tell me his story, even though it wasn't much of a story, but to get him on there, in hopes that he might promote that, like he does. And he did. He got on the show, mentioned the book's name, our names, and I was like, wow, this is going to put us into the stratosphere if those listeners buy this book. And then Howard says, I don't want to tell them what you're talking about. Just hung up on him. He ruined our life.
I hear he's kind of a douchebag.
I think he is.
I think he is too.
And he was a big influence on most of us. But in the 80s, when he was fun,
Yeah.
that all changed.
Before big money and satellite radio come along.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that brings me to this. Your radio heroes. Who did you listen to as a kid? Because when we were kids, the DJs played just as big a part in radio as the music did, and now you don't really have DJs anymore. You got these conglomerates that are, Clear Channel and iHeart and all those guys. It's all pre-recorded stuff, and before, the DJs were part of it.
See my mind clicking there. I already have 5 different things to mention.
Tracy and Joe's up there.
Okay, but I'm going to mention the GOAT after. But when I was growing up, we had a local team out of New Haven that they're very popular. They were getting very popular. They're called Smith and Barber, and they would have events all the time. They had Barnyard Day. When do you remember what's his name? He was a jerk. The guy that makes the weird sounds in Police Academy.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
I can't remember his name. Not the guy that does the voices, but the short guy. Anyway, They had Barnyard Day promoting this guy's movie because he was going to be a guest, and they invited everybody to bring barnyard animals to the studios. So I worked right next door to the studio, so I volunteered to. They need volunteers to serve food. So they said you had to dress like some kind of animal. I had a pig nose and pig ears, so I was a pig, and I became known as Little Pig anytime they did local events, or if I called up, I was Little Pig. That was my name, so they knew who I was. And Bobcat Goldthwait was his name. So so they made like scrambled eggs and bacon and stuff, and then we'd go bring it to whoever showed up. And I brought it over to Bob. He was a big star at the time, and I was like 20. You're like, wow, it's a celebrity. So when you're a kid, it's a big deal. And I brought it over to him. He goes, I can't eat this shit. He goes, why'd you do this to me? He was, I'm a vegetarian. And I don't know if he was being funny or he was mean to me, you know?
Yeah.
So then I just saw him on I think it was Joe Rogan, and he goes, I want to apologize to everybody that I made feel bad in the 90s because I was on drugs, I was drinking, and I felt so bad. I was like, yeah, I was one of those people.
That was
So
me, douchebag.
I forgive Bobcat now. But another story about Smith and Barber was, like I said, I used to listen on my earphones at work, my buds, to listen to their show, and they had guests a lot. And Ronnie James Dio was one of my favorites of all time, and he was at the studio right next door when I'm listening. And I'm like, how stupid am I? Why don't we just leave work for a few minutes to go see him when he's walking out? Nobody else is there. So I told my boss, I said, I'll be back in 10 minutes, whatever. And I walked out, and some guy came out of the building and says, yeah, he's going around the other way. Go around the other way. So I go around the other way, and then Ronnie James Dio scoots out the way right where I was, and it goes in his car, and he waved at me through the window. That was and I even had I just bought a CD. I had the CD, gonna have him sign it. Anyway, so Smith and Barber were huge back then, and after I did the Hunter Chronicles for a while, I felt more comfortable talking on air. One of the Smith guy, he's doing his own show now by himself around here, and he had me on as a guest just as a, to talk about ghost stuff.
Right.
And he proposed, he goes, we should do something. Anyway, he was trying to think about how we could do something together now. And I'm like, those are one of my heroes growing up, and to come to the point where they wanted to, partner up with me was kind of cool. But this is getting to the point of Art Bell. There is no,
yeah.
there's nobody else.
No,
Sorry.
When he died, we lost one of the best radio hosts of all time. It was just unbelievable when the news broke that he died. It was just unreal.
I think there was some more circumstances surrounding that than they reported.
Well,
also,
I believe you're right, and that show, Art pretty much. I mean, he gave it up around 2015, and that show was never the same. George Norrie was. For everything, George seems like a nice guy. Blah blah whatever, but he just didn't have what Art had.
He had a magic.
Yeah, there was a magic there, and that voice was so recognizable. And you know what? Sometimes Art would take some time off, and I wouldn't know it. And as soon as I would hear a different voice, I'd go, oh, "Well, this show's gonna suck."
So is Art Bell your guys' GOAT?
I don't know.
But no, I was going to even mention the couple that did radio when I was a kid, and to be honest, when I was a kid, I look forward to, I think it was Sundays when they did the Casey Kasem countdown.
That's right, the top 40 countdown.
And you get your tape recorder out, and I would record the last 10 songs so you could listen to them. That was a thing back then.
Yeah, absolutely. But he did the request or the dedication where he would read this big, long, sappy letter.
The dead dog.
And, Casey Kasem, he was another one that had, as soon as you heard that voice, you knew who it was. And I'll tell you, for people who don't know, he did a lot of voiceovers for cartoons.
Yeah. He was Scooby-Doo.
That's right, Scooby-Doo. He was Shaggy. Shaggy on the Scooby-Doo show, yeah. And he did a lot with Hanna-Barbera cartoons as far as voiceovers. But it was just one of those voices. As soon as you heard it, you knew exactly who he was.
Yeah.
And Paul Harvey. Paul Harvey was another one. As soon as you heard that voice, you knew you were going to hear the rest of the story, because that's what Paul Harvey did. And talk about a hook. He would lead you up. I mean, this thing would last. It would be just like a little commentary for 5 minutes. And he would tell you all these little things that this particular person did that, would kind of, you would be sitting there going, oh God, who is this? Who is this? Who is this? And then at the end, And now for the rest of the story, he would, incorporate who it was and what they done. And I mean, Paul Harvey was another big one for me.
Who's Paul Harvey?
Look him up. I mean, no joke. He was a class act.
Yeah, he had his own unique style.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And then,
look at the people like you guys, man. I mean, Jimmy, Tracy, Joe. You
well, I
guys,
don't know that I've influenced anybody, but
you
But
guys
you have.
have influenced me, man. You guys are legends in the game, man.
well, I appreciate
Tracy,
that.
Joe, and Jimmy are legends for sure.
That's what I'm saying to these people that I don't even talk about the drama and the paranormal world that you probably see. But it's like
Oh yeah,
but so that when I was young, growing up, there was only so many people doing it, like the Ed and Lorraine and Hans Holzer,
yeah,
and it's like you looked up to them as legend, whatever they were doing, and it's like you have to the people coming up now are looking at us like we don't really realize it, but we're the ones they're looking at, and it's like stop making fools of yourselves and be a good example.
yeah, exactly. And you know what? Like I was a big fan of John Boy and Billy when John Boy and Billy was back in the day, and they were funny and not scripted. As they got bigger, everything became scripted, and it wasn't as funny. I love that spur of the moment, funny. You never know what just going to blurt out of your mouth. It's going to be funny, and that's why I rarely prepare for any show. Because I'd rather be the spur of the moment than sit and think about, well, this is what I need to say here.
I agree 100%. And the only scripted thing I would do is I had my little routine. I did the breaking news story and the scary birthdays, and
Yeah,
after that, there's a certain thing about especially being live when it's there's a certain thing about being live because it's like it's not that you're nervous, but there's a little anxiety in there because you could screw up any second,
yeah,
and but it makes you better because it's more exciting.
it is. And I love doing live.
I like
And
and then you learn you screw up and it's funny afterwards. It's like, who
yeah,
cares?
and you make fun of it. And so, and we have these girls that are on the Two Girls One Cut, the serial killer girls, and they are scared to death to go live. And I've told them, it's really not that big a deal. If you screw up, just roll with it. You know, but unfortunately, I don't know how they would ever do a live because their shows are on Thursdays at 7, and
Welcome in.
they don't get off work till 8 o'clock on Thursday, so they almost have to pre-record everything anyway.
I got a story for you from here. You're in this book,
I've
You're,
heard
you
that.
you and Joe are in this book, but there was a point I was making. Oh, about how I got started with the Paramania thing.
It was me and Joe got you in it.
Well, but I was a friend sent me a link to I listened to this, and that's when podcasts weren't even a thing then. It was like it was live, but it was at a chat room, so it was nice. It was different
Right.
platform. It was nice because you could talk to everybody in there, and it was Terry, Todd, and Lisa were doing the voices. Carrie, and it's funny because the first time I listened to it, it had Frank Sarchi was the guest, and like I go in as there as Mr. Haunted. It wasn't Jimmy, it was like
Right.
Mr. Haunted. So I said they don't know who I was, so I said tell Ralph I said hi. So then Terry would say Mr. Haunted in the chat room says hi to Ralph, and he goes, hey Jimmy, how you doing? So I was like, how do they know who he is? So then the next week was John Zaffis. I said the same thing. I said, tell Johnny I said hi. He goes, hey Jimmy, how you doing? So after the second show or so, he wanted to talk to me. Like, who are you that everybody knows you?
Yeah.
So I told him the story, and he goes, well, I want to have you on as a guest. And I was terrified. Because like I said, live, I was, especially because he told me, he embellishes a little bit. He told me he has 18,000 live listeners.
Yeah, that was a stretch.
I was terrified. So the first hour, but I'm a chatterbox. So as soon as I got going, I did an hour, and then I was like, "Wow, that's all the stories I got." I just threw them out there. And then he goes, "I want to have you on again next week." I was like, "What am I going to talk about now?" Of course, I had another hour of stuff to talk about, and then Dave said, "Then I started listening to you guys. I found all those Chad. I love all the shows on there. Everybody, no matter what they talk about, it's a good group. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Joe. He was telling me, he's like, we got this guy, Mr. Haunted, and he was going on about your where you was with Malachi Martin and the Warrens and things like that. And he said he's going to come on our show. I was like, great, fantastic, man. That's awesome. And it kind of, after that show, I remember me and you and Joe were talking, and it was like, dude, you need to get your own show.
Yeah. Wasn't even a thing yet.
Next thing you know, there's the Haunted Chronicles.
Yeah, they had to figure out how to, I don't know what to do. I figured it out. Did my own little thing.
I mean, nobody really knows until they do it. And you're right. When you first start this thing, you're not really nervous, but there's an energy about it.
I think if you're not nervous, you shouldn't even do it anymore. If you don't have a little bit of anxiety, start it. Okay, we're gonna go live in 5 seconds. It's part of it.
Yeah, and Chad has really done a phenomenal job building our website, building our base, fan pages, and I mean, he has just knocked it out of the park. And we're getting to the point now. He's got us a chat. We're going to have a chat during live shows, just like Paramania was. We're going to have, opening music. We're going to have breaks, promos, all that stuff. And it's actually turning into what I've always imagined that, what we wanted to do.
Are you familiar with the Opie and Anthony show?
Absolutely.
You know them, right?
Yeah, they're out of New York up there.
Yeah, and they've been done for 10 years now. But the Anthony guy, it's just he has a great voice. He tells great stories. Like I said, any story is a good story. He's a great storyteller. He has a quick wit and everything. And ABC just hired him for Sunday nights. He's doing Sunday just like 3 hours a week. And there's a like he was doing a podcast for years, but there's a certain like for our generation, there's a certain magic to, like, now he has to have the little news stingers in there and we'll be back after this and the little I like waiting for the commercials. I like that old timey radio.
Yes, and that's what we're doing here. This is going to be basically just like terrestrial FM radio, but it's going to be on the internet, where one, we're not regulated by the FCC, so it's a free for all.
Which it needs to be.
Which, well, it's not necessarily a bad thing sometimes, but that's how we're going to run this. Is just like a regular terrestrial radio, like radio was back when we were kids.
Isn't it funny how things come full circle all the time?
Yeah, and this whole thing has been in my mind for 10 years. And now to see it come to the forefront as what it is now and what it's going to be, dude. I am so excited about this whole entire thing.
Sky's the limit, bro. Sky's the limit.
There's, like I told Chad today, I was talking to him on the phone, and I said, we're off the bottom now, so we're on our way up. And that's big for me. And, like doing this thing right here, we're live on YouTube. I don't know if anybody's listening or not, but we've had
a few people. You guys got anything to say to the people in the YouTube chat?
I mean, yeah, welcome. Thank you for listening, for one. Check out Nighthawk Radio, nighthawk-radio.com. Find our shows. Go to the Nighthawk Facebook page. You'll find just about every show we've done so far. You can see us on YouTube, listen to us on Spotify, both under Nighthawk Radio. Yeah, man, thank you so much. If you got any questions, let us know where you're from, and, let us know.
Jimmy, you got anything to say to them?
Yeah, but I can't read because of my eye surgery. That's a whole story for you. But
we ain't got no comments right now. We do got some people in there, though.
It's hard to read in there. Yeah, type in something so we know you're there.
You're not a robot.
It does show me we got people in there, though.
Okay, guys, please just give us a shout out and let us know where you're from. That always interested me from just where are people listening from.
And Tracy, you remember you were talking about influence, like you think influence anybody or
Yeah,
the the Haunted Chronicles thing when I so when we were on that when Terry lied to me and said there was 18,000 live listeners.
yeah,
um, After I did my first show, Dave he used to give me the stats,
right.
and he said I was like 32 or 34 live listeners for it, and I prepared and freaking gave myself a heart attack preparing for the whole thing. I said I'm not doing this every week for 30 listeners. I'm not, but literally, I'm not exaggerating or anything. But I don't know how many years it took, whatever. But there was thousands of live listeners at the end, and you look at the page. It was like
Right.
63 shares. People used to 63 shares of just the event.
Yeah,
Like, oh my god! And then there was one. What I'm saying is, you don't know who's listening. So in the Facebook Messenger, the Haunted Chronicles page, I rarely look at it because nobody's messaging me there. And somebody from Europe, I forget what country it was, and they said, I just wanted to say hi. They're talking about their, they have extreme depression and all this.
right.
And they said, and I wish I saw this earlier. They said, sometimes the only thing I look forward to is Friday nights, 8 o'clock. So I could hear the Haunted Chronicles.
No
So
joke.
there's always that one person out there that you don't know about
Wow, that's
that
incredible.
enjoys what
I
you're
mean,
doing.
that's crazy.
I got a good question for you.
Okay.
And Seth, you've had a lot of big names on your podcast. Who's one person or more that you're a little starstruck talking to?
Mike Goldberg.
That's one of the ones I forgot about him. He had
Which-
freaking Mike Goldberg on.
Yeah, we did.
And you know what? They should have never let go of that guy. I don't understand that.
Hey, UFC, yeah.
And you know what? Here's the thing, though. Here's the funny thing. When we were interviewing him, it wasn't 2 minutes into the interview, and Seth calls him Bill Goldberg.
He said he gets that all the time. Mike will text me every now and then, so might be able to get him on here in a few months or something. We do got somebody from the Animal Planet, Tracy, coming on.
Yes, and we'll tell you later, Jimmy, because we don't want to let it go yet.
His name starts with a C, though.
All right.
They were finding something.
Tell me, is there any other names you have for your starstruckness? And then I'll tell you mine.
Ken Gerhart was a pretty big one. He did Monster Quest, was on the History Channel. He's a cryptid guy. He was a pretty big one. But the sad thing about it was one of the greatest interviews we ever did, and nobody got to hear it. Our audio kept cutting out so bad that we couldn't air it. You couldn't even put it on the air. So
I gotta get him back on.
I got two only because, not because of who she is, because of who her dad was. Because when I was a kid, there was only so many paranormal type books even available, and half of my collection was Hans Holzer books, and I had Alexandra on just to talk to. Like, that's paranormal royalty if you want to talk about paranormal.
yeah,
royalty.
it absolutely is. Yeah.
But when I was a kid, who didn't have a crush on little Cindy Brady?
Yeah, the little pigtails and heck yeah.
So that's how I got connected with Jennifer Runyon. Is I used to listen to the podcasts with Susan Olsen, Willie Ames from Eight Is Enough, Charles in Charge, and Jennifer Runyon. I didn't know who Jennifer was. Matter of fact, I couldn't stand her when I found out she was the fill-in for Cindy Brady in one of the made-for-TV movies. And she was also the snotty little girl in Ghostbusters that thought she was getting the ESP cards right.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, look how smug she is. She doesn't even get them right. She thinks she's so smart. I hated her in 2 shows. She became my best friend. But what I'm saying is they had me on their podcast as a guest, and I got to talk to Cindy Brady for an hour. That was the only time hearing that voice talk to me. And then she was asking me about this. It's like that. She read my website, Cindy Brady.
Listen, that's 70s royalty.
Definitely.
That's way before Seth knew anything about TV.
Man, I barely made it to the 90s, bro.
You're so old.
I know, I'm getting there, bro.
No, yeah, man. But one of my favorite interviews, and every time I interview him, it's I'm not really starstruck. It's just he makes it so easy. Is Don Neal when he talks about Bigfoot? I'm telling you, man, you want to talk about a great interview. Every single time he was on, it was just you propose a question, just leave it alone, and he'll talk for 30 minutes.
And I don't know everything. We're all learning on the fly here. We go to school for this, but if you ever listen to an interview, it's so important. A lot of the hosts, because they want to make it about them, and it's like, I hate when I say it's like, but when you have a good guest on, let them talk.
Yes.
Don't keep. I have to ask a question because my voice hasn't been heard in 2 seconds. Let them talk. If you have a good guest, let them go.
Leave them alone. You're right. It's exactly right. And, I'm not in this for the world to see me. I don't care anything about any kind of fame. I mean, I don't even care if the world knows my name. Just get me paid.
That's why I'm doing it as well, brother. But
So,
you got a big name coming on this Sunday, Tracy. You and
Keith
Joe
Age. Yeah.
Brady.
Keith
Holy
Age is coming on.
mackerels.
Yeah. Be Sunday night, 7 p.m. Yep. Be Keith Age on the Awakening Radio.
You know another favorite guest I have? So you guys talk about serious stuff that I have to go off the rails. There's a guy I heard on the Opie and Anthony show that used to call in and do a Tony Soprano impression. And he's like, he was that good that he had every.
I think I heard that guy.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. I can't think of his name, but he also has a YouTube channel. He does all the voices. He plays all the different characters and talks amongst himself. He's amazing, and I can't
No
remember
way.
his name. But I made friends with the guy. I stalked him out, and I said, "Would you?" Because he was promoting some little mini series he was doing on one of these apps or something. And I got him on, and it was I had him on as Tony. Like I didn't advertise who it was going to be. It's a secret special guest. So I talked to him as Tony Soprano for the first 20 minutes. And there's nobody, you would not believe it wasn't Tony Soprano. And
That's funny as all.
and,
Dude,
and I play clips every once in a while, and I put them up on Facebook. But that was fun.
that would be incredible. To do. I mean, you could have the whole cast and be, a part of what that world was. That's really cool. I love that concept.
Yeah.
Seth, anybody in there now?
Got one person. They're not commenting though. That
No,
might be Jim.
we must suck tonight.
Is that you in there, Jimmy?
It's probably me. Let's see. I can't see. I can't
Okay.
see. I swear to God.
Kitty Poof, where are you from?
No, we had Darren say something in there.
All right, what'd he say?
I ain't gonna read it out loud.
Oh no! Did he yell at me?
Nah.
But how about let's talk about the eye surgery? So because I can't see.
Okay.
So I always had
the
I always had the nerdy thick glasses all my life,
okay?
and every year I went to the doctor as a kid, they got worse and worse. So in my head, I said I'm going to be blind if this keeps going on. I'm going to be blind by the time I'm 11 years old. What's his name? Daryl?
Darren, I think.
Darren. So every year, I'm going to go blind by the time I'm 11 or 12. So I always had really, really bad eyes. And it came time where they said, we might see a little cataract in there. We could give you the miracle surgery just a couple years ago. So I got the surgery, and the day after it was a miracle. I could read across the room. No contacts anymore, no glasses. And then after it settled down, the swelling, it started getting worse and worse. And right now I'm in one eye I'm 20/40 nearsighted. The other eye is 20/70 farsighted. And underneath one of my lenses is totally cloudy, so it looks like I'm looking through spider webs the whole time. And it's like that Twilight Zone episode where Burgess Meredith broke his glasses. Like,
Oh,
what's
yeah.
supposed to read. It's like I'm trying to write books and I can't see. So, anyways, I'm going for more surgery on August 6th. Very frustrating.
To correct it.
Yeah, hopefully.
Maybe you just need to smoke marijuana.
But if you look at the percentages. It's like you always think you're special. I mean, you never think you're special, but apparently I was, because I'm part of the 0.1% of people that it backfires on like that.
Well, you close one eye, you could see real far. You close the other eye, you see real close.
Terrible, awful, terrible.
It's like the Bionic Man.
Kind of. Remember when you were a kid, how cool it was with the Bionic Man, and he had you look through the head at the eye.
That's right. And you could take that little thing off his forearm, and you could see all the robotics in it and stuff.
And this proves what little nerds we were, because everybody in 5th or 6th grade that was watching that, we knew how much the parts were worth. It was like, he's $6 million because his legs are worth $2 million each. Remember, his arm is worth $1 million.
Yeah,
and his eyes worth $1 million. So that equals $6 million. That's why he's $6 million man.
that was such a great show. Yeah,
I think we were close to an hour, bro.
Okay.
Holy mackerels!
I tell you what, we're let's end our show, this show here, but we'll stay on live for a little bit. How's that?
That's fine.
That's fine.
All right, guys. Be sure to check us out on nighthawk-radio.com. Be sure to look us up on YouTube. Listen to us on Spotify, both under Nighthawk Radio. Be sure and check out in October, the first Friday of October.
October 3rd.
The first Friday of every month. Check out Jimmy Haunted as he's showing us. That's a Catholic emblem. I don't know what it is. But be sure and check out his show. Check out this show here. It's on Mondays at 5 o'clock.
7 p.m.
7 p.m. See, I got to write this stuff down. Be sure. Hey, Jimmy, real quick, how can anybody get a hold of you to get your book?
Amazon. Or if they want it signed personally by me, they can go to my Facebook page and order it directly from me.
Mr. Haunted. All right, man. That sounds cool. Be sure to check out Two Girls, One Cut Thursdays at 7, the Mackenzie Hour Thursday at 8, Awakening Radio 7 p.m. Sunday. Guys, Jimmy, thank you so much. If we're going to stay
podcast as well, Sundays at 5 p.m.
Yeah, see, I knew I was going to leave some of them out.
Beyond the Woodline, Sundays at 6 p.m. and then Monday In Dark Places premiere show 6 p.m. Monday.
That's right. That's right.
What? One day we're going to say it all started right now.
Right now. Guys, thank you so much. We're going to stay live on YouTube for a little while. But thank you guys so much. Have a good evening.